Hey, this is Dustin Wright.
And Becky Leebens.
We're with Portfolio Commercial Group, and today we're bringing you the Portfolio, our video newsletter for March 2024. So we've got three big stories, Becky. The first one I'll kind of jump in on, and it really has to do with home sales and prices. Really an interesting kind of contrast between December and January of this year. Really leading in the last half of the year. Obviously, interest rates went up significantly in the summer, but really the last half of the year, that whole effect of adjusting interest rates up really kind of stopped home sales and prices. So there was only a slight increase of about 2.5% overall, how we finished out in December of last year. However, in January of this year, there was an increase of almost 14% just in January this year. So what we think that's probably telling us, it's a little early to tell, but that's a very clear indicator that we're seeing some economic push happening, not only in activity, but also in sales.
Good news.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's great news. That means that we've got a hot climate here in Texas, DFW especially, when you're seeing those sort of gains, especially in 2024. It's awesome.
Yeah, so we've got that, and then our next big thing for our residential partners out there, when you're really looking at this story, what I would tell you is, remember this, you can refi a rate, but you cannot refi a price. We're projected to see interest rates start coming in down by the summer, and if we're already seeing that indicator that basically the market's starting to heat up a little bit, we're likely to see prices increase. So now would be a great time to buy if you have buyers in the market. They might pay a higher interest rate, but they can refi that rate later. But I would lock in a better price right now before we're probably back into multiple offers by the summer, right?
That's smart.
You bet. All right, so our next big story, we've got a lot of movement happening over by the Perot Museum and in downtown Dallas in particular, right?
Oh, I love it when Dallas is growing, right? We live in a market that is so hot that Ross Perot and Hillwood Development has decided to put in a huge mixed-use development next to the museum in downtown. We're talking a $2 billion worth of buildings are going in that area. You've got a 14-story, 800,000 square foot, $500 million office campus. Now you're talking they're bringing office in a market where traditionally now office has been a glut. There's been too many offices, so they're taking a bold leap. And that's why cities like Dallas are trying to re-energize the downtown area. So that's why you're seeing new developments like this happen.
Well, and I think that's really critical, right? Because there's a lot of articles out there, a lot of press around office being really, really soft. And there are examples of that, of course, but it is by no means across the board. You know, you've got Goldman Sachs basically relocating a regional headquarters to downtown Dallas. And so they're launching, so the way office is delivered in the future, we do expect that to look different. Kind of these standard sterile office environments. I expect those things to go away. More of this live workplace situation, mixed use is likely to see what the office of the future is going to look like. But I would make sure is, office is not necessarily going away. It's just going to look different.
No, it isn't. And when you have companies like Goldman Sachs coming in, that's a great sign. They're investing in Dallas and they're bringing all their employees in. So you're going to see new energy happening down there.
You bet. Yeah, huge financial sector growth happening in Dallas in particular. So our last story is kind of a lot of resurgence happening in Plano, Texas. And that's, as my dad would say, Plano, Texas.
Plano.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's right at that 30 plus year. We see that a lot happen in key suburb communities. And so Plano's seeing a lot of redevelopment, things like Collin Creek Mall. I mean, hey, remember my generation went to the mall, and Matt's generation, who's on this side of the camera, kind of shut down going to the mall. It's no longer cool. So you've got a lot of redevelopment projects coming up, right?
Yeah, that's because they want lifestyle, right? They want places where you can hang out, you can eat, and it's outside, right? Legacy West is a great example of that. And when you have lifestyle centers coming in, it puts pressure on the older stuff to get redeveloped. Plano's got to kind of catch up with Frisco. So they're going to be spending a lot of money in the infrastructure and making some of these old developments look new again.
You bet. And I mean, we're talking huge acreage in terms of development plots. I mean, a shopping mall is massive, right? So
yes.
In terms of what that's going to look like and what's going to be, we're still holding out to find out to get some more details. But I would expect you're going to see a lot of resurgence happening around shopping malls in general, because people got to figure out what to do with these massive structures, right?
Yeah, Plano is growing. I think they grew like 30,000 people in the last 10 years. So Plano itself is getting new people coming in that are putting pressure on these malls to improve and to redevelop.
You bet. That's great. Well, those are our three key stories. Remember, if there's any more questions you have in regards to commercial real estate, even how it affects you, we want to be a part of your portfolio. Take care.